if you're scared of feedback, then this is not the business for you, because you cannot be precious. And it's really important to listen to what parents want.
You're listening to Customer Growth Sessions, presented by Intergrowth, where we talk through strategies to help up-and-coming e-commerce businesses bring in more customers. I'm your host, Pat Ahern. Let's jump in.
Welcome back, listeners. You're here with Pat, the host of Customer Growth Sessions, for the latest interview with e-commerce entrepreneurs. Today, we have Ally Weiss, the founder over at GripBaby, onto the show. Ally, welcome on board.
Hey, Pat, thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you. Can you start out by giving us an overview? What is GripBaby?
Yeah, absolutely. So GripBaby is the first of its kind infant crawling support onesie. When my little babies were learning to crawl, they were slipping and sliding all over hardwood floors. And I actually went to go purchase something to help them stay up while they were crawling, and it didn't exist. I was super shocked. So I started designing a patent, and that's kind of how GripBaby came to be.
I love it. I love it. And so at the time that you started the business, you had historically been working at Google. You know, you had you had a good corporate job set up.
Absolutely.
So I want to dive into that in a minute, but can I ask, what led you to leave, this comfy job that you had at Google and end up starting GripBaby?
Yeah. So, I'd always wanted to do something on my own, but I wanted it to be a super unique product. And I'd had many ideas, but this really felt like something special in the sense that it helped babies and parents. And so when I came up with the idea, it started as like, let's keep going and see where this takes us. The patent process, the prototype process, those all take a very long time. So as things kept moving and I was on to my second baby, I was like, I think I really have something here. And then unfortunately, my mother tragically passed away. And that changed my entire outlook on life, career, and being a mother. And so I felt like GripBaby was just kind of calling my name. And it was something that would allow me to be home with my children in the morning instead of rushing to the office and staying late, which I had been doing for almost 2 decades. And, being home with my children and working from home and being able to see them in these super special moments was sort of a gift my mom gave me, in the sense that she was a stay-at-home mom. And I had always seen myself as like a boss CEO. Like I loved working. I loved going to the office. And I pictured myself just going back at it and working my way up through the ranks in corporate. And as she left this earth, I started to just have more and more respect for her as a stay-at-home mom. And it's not to say that I didn't before, but I think you don't really know what it takes to be a parent until you have your own children. And I really just didn't want to miss those moments. And I was so thankful that my mom stayed home with us and gave us all of her time and sacrificed a lot to raise us. And I thought, if I can have a little bit more of a balanced life and push GripBaby and stay home with my kids a little bit more, it's going to be an amazing life. And so I have a product I believe in, and I get to see my children more than if I were going into the office every day.
And I mean, to your point, A, getting to launch a product that you believe in, and B, getting to spend more time with your children, there's a ton of benefits that come with that career pivot. That being said, I think that a lot of listeners, or even just individuals that are considering starting a business, end up at a job that they get paid a good salary in, they have good benefits, maybe they have a 401k, let's say, and I think there can be a lot of fear with taking the jump to entrepreneurship. So I'd love if we could dive into that. Yes, not all parts of entrepreneurship are glamorous. There are some dark sides of it. Can we approach that from a couple different angles? Maybe starting with like the finance side of things. You start out, you're getting a great salary at Google, I would imagine. How did you approach that transition from a financial side of things to running your own business?
That's a great question. It's absolutely difficult. Google is an incredible place to work. Not only financially do you get an incredible salary, but there's stock, there's benefits for your entire family, benefits beyond your wildest belief. You're incredibly taken care of. I had the golden handcuffs on for quite a while, and there's also an ego attached to it, right? Like to be able to say, I work at Google, it makes you feel cool. It makes you feel smart. People say sometimes it's even a harder place to get into than Harvard. And so there was a lot of reconciliation with myself and my husband. We had to talk a lot about what that looks like for us. And I say my mom is my angel investor in the truest sense. Like I did use money that she left me to start this business. And I had planned to do it without, I would never want my mom to pass away. Money doesn't really mean much to me. I had my own money saved and I was going to do it myself anyway. But obviously, this made that transition a little bit easier financially. I will say, not having income for the last almost year has been really hard. Even if you do have a little bit of money, not having that income is just incredibly scary. So I think what it took for me was realizing that corporate's always going to be there. Like there's always going to be a corporate job to go to. And if Grit Baby doesn't work out, there's a way to get back into that world. But it was so important for me to bet on myself and to bet on Grit Baby, a product I truly believe in, and really go full force. It takes a lot of courage for any entrepreneur to leave their job and to start a new business. And it's not easy. The amount of money that has to go into the business, triple X what you think it's going to be, because stuff just pops up you don't really think about. Even if you do have your MBA or you have had maybe a smaller business before, you have a friend who's had a business, until you're really in it, I don't think you realize how much you need to start a business. The government doesn't make it easy for small business owners. It's just a lot more expensive. And I remember as I was starting it, these fees were popping up and, there's patent fees and for me specifically, because this is a patent, there's LLC fees, there's corporate compliance. And I just remember thinking, how does anyone start a business without having help, whether that be VC funding or help from a family member? And it's incredibly difficult. So I'm glad there is some grants out there to help small business owners, but I'm not going to pretend like it's easy. When it comes to replacing my salary, the salary has not been replaced yet. So I have hope that it will be soon, but was making upwards of, with stock included, and I'm all for salary transparency. So as a creative activation manager on a media team, I was making upwards of $350 all in a year, which is quite a bit of money. And that can make your family feel very, very safe. So we have cut back on the things that we do because we truly believe in this business. And we think living a little bit less now is going to help us in the future. You're kind of taking a big bet that eventually there'll be a salary and a payout. And I think if you plan accordingly and you have a great product, you can get yourself there. But it's going to be tough in the beginning. So have a cushion, or have my husband works, thankfully, and he isn't making as much as I was, but it's a good amount to help us with food on the table and our bills. And you just kind of keep those fingers crossed and bet on yourself and work hard and hope that one day you'll replace your salary and maybe even something better will happen.
And so we were talking before, so Grit Baby officially launched in September 2024. So let's say if you could go talk to Ally from, let's say 6 months prior to that, terrible math, but let's go with April, let's say 12 months ago from today, let's say April 2024, you can go back in time, you can talk to Ally, you can give her advice and say, what advice would you give to that younger self, whether it be on the financial side of things or anything related to just help her, or I guess yourself, to better transition?
Yeah. So I think there's some stuff that I think I really did right. And, I have the marketing and branding chops, and the people who helped me build the Grit Baby brand are just incredible at what they do. They're designers I worked with at Pinterest, all female. And so I think I really did that right. There are areas where I wish I knew more. And my biggest challenge has probably been the ordering, logistics, manufacturing side of things. This is a custom product. This is not a baby onesie with a logo slap. Having some education or talking to somebody about the shipping logistics process would have been really important for me, because I wouldn't say I've made some mistakes, but there's been some things that I haven't done correctly along the way. And one of those specifically is, the first time we shipped via plane, which is a lot more expensive, but I started with a lower amount of units to see what's the market going to think? What are parents and baby shower buyers going to think of this product? So I started with a low amount of, well, not super low, but around 1,500 units. And then I quickly needed to replace that. So manufacturing is slow. It is not tech. I'm used to tech where it's you put the thing in, the next day it happens. It's just not how it works in this world. And it's a lot slower. So I wish I understood manufacturing timelines, and I wish I knew sort of the ins and outs of logistics, especially when you're shipping product on a boat, which has a much more robust paperwork schedule when it comes to customs than flying does, than shipping your product on a flight. So those are kind of the two areas. I think the last one is a lot of people are going to contact you about services that they have to offer you. I meet with a lot of different service providers and then tools because I like to just learn about that stuff. I like to know what's out there. But a lot of them are scammy. So you really just have to make sure that you're working with the right people and you're hiring the right team. And I'm not saying like direct team, but when you're outsourcing work. So always try to have a reference, whether it be you're asking the company to speak to another product, another brand that they've helped, or word of mouth, I think has been the best for me. Make sure your lawyer has worked with somebody. Make sure your PR team has worked with somebody, because I think I trusted a couple people a little too soon and it didn't really bite me in the ass, but it probably wasted a little bit of time.
Jumping back a minute to shipping and logistics, have you found that there are any like resources in particular that have been particularly helpful in learning more, or has it just been, school of hard knocks, live and you learn, you make mistakes and you know better for next time around?
I would say there has not. Regarding shipping and logistics, you think it would be pretty straightforward, but it's not. What I have learned is ask the people who have already done this the questions, right? So here's an example. For this last run of product, I needed to have something called an ISF document filled out. This sounds boring, but it's important to know. And it's a document that has to be filled out by a logistics consultant prior to the boat leaving. Did not know that, didn't know what it was. When I was notified about this, I tried to log on the government website and do it myself. Totally impossible. So I got in touch with a company called Shipaboo, and Nike's one of their big clients, and they can kind of handle everything from start to finish. Once you place a PO, you let them know, and then they work with the manufacturer. So I'll be doing that next time. So there's just like tools and different companies who can help you handle these things more seamlessly than trying to do them yourself. And I recommend trusting the professionals when it comes to logistics, PR, accounting, and legal. Those are the 4 places I would really trust the professionals, and don't try to do it yourself.
Struggling to get new customers? We're here to help. Hey, this is Pat, the host of Customer Growth Sessions. Our agency, Intergrowth, has been helping e-commerce brands like Bella Bridesmaids, Brevity, and JS Dental to get more customers online since 2016. Interested in seeing how we'd help you? Head over to intergrowth.com/CGS to book a complimentary consultation with me. That's intergrowth.com/CGS. All right, back to the show.
Well, and along those lines, going to the legal side of things,
Yeah.
I know that, IP has been really important for you. So can you talk a little about what that process has looked like? And yeah, let's just start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from Google and Pinterest, and IP and following the rules is so incredibly important there, and owning your brand and making sure that there's no infringement. And as a marketer on that side, I learned a lot about that. So I brought that expertise into Grip Baby, knowing that if I was going to do a product, I wanted it to be super unique. That's the patent side. And I wanted to own my IP. If people don't know what IP is, intellectual property, it's just that you own your name, you own your taglines. So my name is Grip Baby. And for Little Movers on the Go is my tagline. And then Crawling Academy is something that I wanted to own because I'm going to be working on something in the future regarding that. So I had a lawyer that I found online, and they are actually pretty well known, but I didn't have any sort of reference from them. I just was like, oh, this popular name is associated with them. They've got to be great. So that's where I started with my IP and patent, and it seemingly was okay. And then I got introduced to the founder, Sarah, of Tush Baby. Tush Baby is an incredible product. They have a patent. It's the side carrier where you can hold your baby or toddler without them kind of like pushing on your side. It's like a little side, almost like backpack seat where you can hold your baby. And so they're local here in the Bay Area. And the first advice she gave me was, you need to do an IP and patent audit. And I was like, but I already have a patent pending in the United States. And she was like, trust me. So I met with her lawyers, ESCA Legal, and we did a massive audit and we found holes, a lot of holes. So yeah. So we kind of fixed those holes and we secured my IP and patent in most countries. And that made me feel really amazing that it was almost like the veil was uncovered. Like I didn't really know that world. I didn't know what was going on. And they laid it out there of where I was protected and where I wasn't. Whereas the other lawyer just kind of handled things and sent me paperwork. So ask a lot of questions and make sure you know where you're actually protected, what countries, what product is actually protected, what part of your product is protected, because all those little details matter.
For listeners that have a product or about to launch a product, would you say that in almost every case you'd recommend going through a similar process, getting trademark rights, getting patent rights, you name it? Or is it more so reserved for like a smaller group, let's say, let's just broadly say inventors?
Yeah. So a patent is definitely not always necessary. If you think you have a unique idea that's never been done and you've done a quick search yourself and you can't find anything, it is worth doing a patent search. And that is where you hire a lawyer to do a US patent search to see if that product exists. And that's really cool because you can pay them a couple $100 to do that search and you'll know, do I need to move forward with this? Or is this just a really great idea that doesn't need a patent? If you're just like doing a clothing brand or something that doesn't require any unique design, you probably don't need a patent. What you will need is to protect your IP, and everyone needs to protect their IP. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be the smallest, one store local baby shop to a massive brand. Like your IP is so important because you want to own your name. And you can start really simply by doing that on LegalZoom. Like you do not have to hire a lawyer to do all these things for you. LegalZoom is an incredible resource to trademark, and it's a really great place to start. If you want to start there, wonderful. If you grow and grow and grow, it will be important to hire a lawyer to kind of take it over from LegalZoom and make sure you're protected in all the countries where you sell. But LegalZoom is like just such a great place to start.
Definitely. And I'll just add in the lawyery disclaimer that neither one of us are lawyers. This is not official legal advice, just good general advice from one entrepreneur here. So I love it, Ally. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about a lot of the hidden costs of entrepreneurship. A lot of people probably never thought, I need to, make sure that I get the trademark. I need to get this patent. I need to deal with all these different like little logistics fees.
Yeah. LLC.
Absolutely. All the different filing side of things. This is going to be a really tough question to answer. So work with me on this question a little bit, but I'd love if we could come up maybe with like a general budget that someone considering launching a company should look towards. And I think a good way to approach it, because that number is going to vary so drastically depending on like the product and how many units you're starting out with. Right. Let's think, these broader admin costs. So launching your website, legal filing fees for the first 12 months, getting your patent trademark. Is there a rough number that comes to mind for you that you think is like a good starting point for that investment?
Yeah, if we're saying that there's no patent and then we're leaving product out of it, I would say $10,000 is about a good amount to have in your back pocket because, if you need a full brand book, brand books can be upwards of like, you could pay someone $100,000. She's like the best brand person in the world, but you can get that done for around $3,000 to $5,000. I would say to open your LLC and for compliance throughout the year, roughly $1,500. To build your website, it's going to be around $3,000 to $5,000. So I think $10,000 to $15,000 would be like a good amount of money. You'd have to really budget correctly within that, but you can start your business for that much. And it sounds like a lot, but the money goes really, really fast. And then when it comes to products, I can't say for my product, I will say that like I got a better deal on the cost per unit once I ordered more of the product. So if you want to test the market first, you're going to pay a higher cost per unit. And then if you realize this is something I really want to do and we're going to move forward with, you order more and your cost per unit is going to go down.
Definitely. And I mean, along those lines, I love the way you approach it, where I think you said earlier, you started out with 1,500 units and, the cost per unit is going to be a lot higher, but what a great way to validate your idea, sell those initial units, see what the level of interest is, see what the customer feedback is, refine the product, and then scale it up from there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. There were a couple little tweaks I had to make on the product. Pretty much everything was good except the smallest size. It felt a little small to us, so we made it a little bigger. And then I think there was like a new zipper technology that came out. So that's the thing, is like, it's always changing. The world's always changing. Materials are changing. So there could be something either more cost effective or better for your consumer, like for the baby. We felt like this zipper was just a lot better. And so things change, and just, be in communications with your customers, get feedback. I think that if you're scared of feedback, then this is not the business for you, because you cannot be precious. And it's really important to listen to what parents want. One piece of feedback I heard about my product, and there's a reason for this, and I really only heard this like once or twice, but that, most baby onesies, the zipper goes all the way down the leg, and mine goes kind of to the middle. And there's a reason for that. That's because when babies are crawling, I didn't want the zipper to interfere with their leg or kind of scratch on their leg. I wanted this to be like super comfortable. So you almost put my onesie on a little bit more like pants. And that takes a little bit, I guess, like a little bit getting used to for parents. But once I explained that, I think they're like, yeah, that makes sense.
When you first mentioned that, Ally was just holding up like one of the sample products there. So my son, same thing. He has, or I guess opposite thing, I should say, that his zipper pajamas will go all the way down his leg. And I saw that and I was like, wow, that's very different. But to your point, he also hates crawling. And maybe part of the reason is because he has this zipper that's jabbing into his leg when he tries to crawl around.
Yeah, I mean, we think about what is best for us as parents and what's the easiest for us as parents. And sometimes that's actually not what is the best for the baby. And so I had to think a little bit more baby first here, because the goal is to get your children to crawl safely. Crawling is actually a really important milestone. There's some debate about that. And again, I am not a doctor. It really does build confidence in your child. And it's really the best next step from tummy time, and then to get them to stand up and start walking. So I was really thinking baby first here. And while it might be like a little bit like different to put them on as pants and then zip up, it's really just so that the babies feel comfortable while they're crawling and nothing is scratching up against their legs.
And listeners, one little plug I want to make here as well is if you want to, I guess I would say, learn more about like customer development, getting feedback along that line. We did an episode in season 1 with Nils Koppelman, who I would broadly describe him as like a conversion rate optimization expert. He offered some really phenomenal insights if you're thinking about launching, call it a new product line. Offered some great places that you can go to collect feedback about competing product. Specifically talked about Reddit, going to Amazon, hearing what the negative reviews are, and baking a lot of that into your product development. So if you haven't launched yet, great episode to check out. Nils offers some great additional insights there.
I'm going to check it out, because I'm always like looking for other ways to like get customer feedback. It's such an important part of the business.
Oh, definitely. So I want to pivot a little bit, because I've been dying to ask you this question, and I had to look it up this morning before we recorded. But, you launched September 2024. So, call it, what is that, 9 months ago, let's say? You have 64,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Can you give away your secret? How did you do that in 9 months? That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was a really slow start, to be honest. I will say that partnering with a legit influencer, I'm going to say it wasn't cheap. I'll give a range because I don't want to give her rate card away, but between $5,000 and $12,000, I paid this one influencer I adore her. Her name is Liz Weber. And I was a little bit nervous to spend that much up front, but it legitimized the brand like to such an extreme level that brought in quite a bit of followers initially. So I think partnering with somebody that's not just a UGC creator, but an actual influencer in the space for launch is amazing. And Liz spoke about the baby product and brought a lot of her followers over to me. And so that was the initial, probably first like 5,000 followers. Then it was a really slow build, and I was starting to be like, how do these brands build up their followers? I'm a marketer. Like, I feel like it's still something that is kind of a mystery to me. And so as I started to dig in and talk to other brands, I realized that giveaways are the ultimate way to build up your brand following, whether that be partnering with other brands, doing your own giveaways, or having like a UGC creator do a giveaway on their page. It's simply the best way to gain a following, because part of the giveaway is you must follow these accounts. And so really just like the only way and the quickest way to build up a following is to do giveaways. I guess the third way was totally unexpected, and the point of this was to not gain followers, but I will say it was a symptom of this. So when the LA fires happened, me and my PR person connected, and she was like, you need to be giving away onesies. Like, the time is now. Like, it was actually an idea that we were just like, wait, we have this product. We're a new brand. Babies are in need. Parents are in need. Let's give away baby onesies. And so I posted on my social, like, any parents, grandparents, anyone helping their friends who are affected by the fires, ping me and I will send you onesies. So I just had an influx of people sending messages, and I probably spent 3 weeks behind the computer just sending free onesies. And it was the ultimate right choice because, we're all about community and helping each other as parents. And it just felt good to be giving this product away. Blake Lively shared a list of brands that were helping during the fire relief. So I think that also brought in an influx of followers. So really the three things are influencer, UGC, giveaways. People want free stuff. They love free stuff. As much as you can gift products in the first year, I think it's super important. And then a philanthropic event. Unfortunately, the fires were incredibly devastating, but I was glad that we could help like 0.001%.
People ask me all the time, should I be using ChatGPT to create content for my site? So here's the thing. AI is great at quickly spitting out blog content. It's also great at pissing off your following. If you've spent years building your brand and follower base, why would you risk that all with AI-generated content? At Intergrowth, we work with companies that see their brand as an asset to get more customers through human-crafted articles that your customers look for online. We master your brand voice and work with your team to write the best articles on the internet that bring you customers on autopilot from search engines like Google. Interested in hearing more? Reach out to us at intergrowth.com/CGS to book a complimentary strategy session with our team.
I did do a little paid media, I will say, but nothing enough to quantify sales or followers. I was just kind of do $100 here and there. With this next round, I'm going to do a true media test and put the same amount of money behind it, all my platforms. And we'll see how that converts. But yeah, very limited media. I would say over the past 9 months, I've probably spent $2,000 between Meta and Instagram on media. So not very much there.
And I mean, props to you for giving away so many units, to people in need with the LA fires.
Yeah.
I want to dive a little bit deeper into what you shared, starting out with the influencers. And sorry, can you give the influencer that you've been working with, can you give a shout out to her one more time? I am blanking on her name. I'm sorry.
No, oh my God, there's so many out there. And so her name's Liz Weber. She's a kind of like mom influencer, also kind of like a lifestyle influencer. And I was a fan of hers, and the way she communicated with me as a fan, I thought she was just so kind and really aligned with the Grip Baby brand and wasn't a gatekeeper and wanted to share and help other moms. And so I was like, in my head, I was like, that is the dream person to launch with Grip Baby.
Amazing. I was going to say my follow-up question was going to be, how did you find Liz? It sounds like you've been following her for a long time. And when you were looking for an influencer, I would imagine she was the first person you thought of and you said, oh, let me see if I can work with her.
Yeah, absolutely. I could have messaged Liz directly because we had messaged previously. But most of these influencers have an email attached to their Instagram, which is their booking and talent agency. So because I come from the world of marketing, I know that is really the way to go. And I wanted to respect her talent agency. So I went on her Instagram, and in fact, there was an email address to contact for booking for Liz. So sometimes they have it on directly on their Instagram, or a lot of the times they have a website, which you can link to, and then it's a contact me. Some influencers are managing it themselves. Most of them have a booking agency, which is helping them kind of find gigs, and which great about that is I haven't been able to do it yet, but now they know of Grip Baby and they have mom influencers who are like chomping at the bit to work with Grip Baby. And so it's great because I can go there when I'm ready and partner with them. Shine Talent Group, they're amazing. They've been wonderful to work with. And then outside of that, user generated content has been incredible. And there's a lot of upcoming influencers who want to just do trades. So that means you're sending them product and they make you content. And, everyone has to start somewhere. I'm a small brand. They're up and coming, influencers. And so we kind of make a deal and do a trade and they get free product and they make me a couple pieces of content. So that's been another really great way to get content because my babies have started walking and I don't have any models anymore.
Amazing. And could we talk about giveaways for a minute? Is there a software or series of softwares that you found are most effective for, I guess I would say just running that process behind the scenes?
I just do it all myself, honestly. There is a free picker, pick the winner. I don't even remember what it's called. You can literally Google giveaway winner picker and you can put your Instagram link into it and it'll pick the winner randomly based on your rules. So if the rules are you have to follow, post in your story and comment, you can put the rules into that and it'll do it accordingly. But I'm doing everything myself right now. And so I'm just kind of running it all. Even the engagement, there are engagement tools, but I want to know my community. It's so early. I want to be messaging with them. I don't want to have a software doing it. Eventually I'll have, if things grow, I will have to do that. But I want to talk to these moms myself. So I have moms message me, parents message me, dads, all the time, just being like, this is so cool. I hope I win. And I want to be talking to them. So I'm doing everything myself right now. I'm not really using tools minus the random generator for the winners because that would be,
I love it.
I was just picking myself.
I was going to say, as long as you're not doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo in order to find a winner, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, but there's bigger brands too, Moss and Fawn. We did a giveaway together and then they messaged me about including me in a Mother's Day, I think an upcoming Mother's Day giveaway. So it's kind of just online networking. Once you get yourself in a giveaway and you say hey, I see you're doing a giveaway. I'd love to be included in one next time. That's really the best way to go about this.
And I mean, to your point, as long as you can make the time to be talking directly to your customers, engaging with them, learning about things that they're excited about, what they're struggling with, I'd argue that's one of the most valuable things you could do for probably at least the first few years of the company. Yeah. I mean, there's no better way that you're going to learn about your customers and make a connection with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as Grip Baby grows, if I'm unable to do that one day and I have a social media manager, I hope there's other ways that we can go about that, whether that be community driven events, because I really think that's going to be a trend and upcoming is these community driven events. We're all online and we're communicating, but I think people want to meet in real life. And I'm seeing brands partner more and more to do brunches, whether it be a mom's brunch or a baby yoga day. Those are all things I would love to do as I grow and to meet people in real life.
Well, can you give us a little bit of a sneak peek for what's in store for Grip Baby for, call it the next 2/3 or next half of 2025 that we have left?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll break one of them here, which is super exciting. I'm going to be doing a baby shower box, and that's a beautiful branded white cream box with a magnet and a beautiful bow where people can purchase every single size of the onesie, and you don't have to wrap it. It will show up gorgeous at the person's house or at your house to gift. So that's coming probably in the next month. And then, I really thoughtfully want to expand. I'm struggling with the amount of waste that we as humans are giving to the earth. And in the sense of there's so much fast fashion out there and it scares me, honestly. So I want to very thoughtfully expand Grip Baby. So what that means is we're going to be focusing on our core 2 colors. And then eventually in the next probably 6 months to a year, we'll expand to 4 very thoughtfully curated colors that can go across genders. And then I think beyond that, I do have a new product that will be coming out that is still in the crawling space, but I won't mention it yet. That's probably in the next 1.5 to 2 years. So I gave you one I haven't talked about it yet. The baby shower box, we'll be doing some colors, and then a new product probably in the next 1.5 to 2 years.
I love it. I love it. A little bit of a reveal, a little bit of a teaser there. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Try to have both.
Ally, this has been amazing. For listeners that want to buy Grip Baby, let's start out there. Where can they go to buy their own Grip Baby?
Yeah, super simple. gripbaby.com. You can follow the handle on Instagram at gripbabyofficial. And if you want to talk to me, I'm at Ally Weiss official. And I'm always here to answer any questions that you have or just talk about parenting because, as you know, Pat, it is a wild, wild world and we all need to lean on each other.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Well, once again, listeners, this is Ally Weiss, the founder over at Grip Baby. Ally, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, Pat.
Thanks for tuning in to Customer Growth Sessions. If you found it helpful, subscribe and give us a review. It helps us to grow the show. Looking for more SEO guidance on how to grow your business? Contact us at intergrowth.com/estimator or email me directly. You can reach me at pat@intergrowth.com. That's all for today. We'll see you again soon.